Okay, now one of the things we've been doing here is getting Rory's sound together, so hopefully, Rory, you'll be able to use the guitar to play something in a few minutes, will you?
I'll try, yeah. Rusty fingers, but I think it might be worth a little bash anyway.
Yeah, sure, why not? Yeah. Okay, so listen, we might as well just say what the whole thing is about, because you're playing tomorrow night at the Olympia Theatre in Dublin. That's Wednesday night. The same again Thursday, Friday and Saturday. Then next Monday it's Belfast. On Wednesday of next week it's Limerick. On Friday of next week, that's the 26th, it's Galway. And then on Sunday week next, it's back in your hometown, which is Cork, which you've been in quite recently. Was that a special TV thing and you couldn't play to the audience as much as you liked, or do you just not think about the cameras at all?
I think it was... well, the cameras did constrict us a wee bit, but for once it wasn't too bad. I think the general mood of the place, the lighting was good, the sound was good, and, you know, as televised things go, I think it was a success, you know.
Yeah, what about the other televised thing, which was the last time you did in Ireland, actually, which was almost 2 years ago now, May the 17th, 1986, outdoor at the RDS in Dublin, which was self-made. That was a bit of an odd one, I'd say, was it?
Very, very odd, yeah. We were up all night, we just played a festival in Germany the night before, flew in, sort of ran up on stage and just saw 3 traffic lights in front of us. As you remember, if you weren't off by the red light...
You were kicked off, you were circled around, yeah.
And I tell you, that's not good for your calm, you know. So it really took me... I don't know, I was off the stage before I had cooled down, and then we had to dash away to an airport, but it was just the event of the day, and everyone was in the same boat, more or less.
Yeah.
And we got through it. As long as some bit of it was good, you know.
Yeah, it's not too often that you'd have you'd plug in a guitar and have to just play for 15 minutes. I mean, you're only warming up at that stage anyway. Especially Rory Gallagher plays such long stage.
Yeah. Well, I mean, particularly you run up and your guitar's lying there, you know, the wind blowing around it. I mean, things like that, and then you go up and you realise that you're about 20 feet away from the band. All those kind of little details. But there again, I'm sure that's a little bit what it must have been like, say, in the 50s or the early 60s on these package tours where you ran on and ran off, just did your 2 B-sides, 2 A-sides, and that must have been nerve-wracking. And they might do, just as we were talking about Chuck Berry and Buddy Holly and people like that, they might do, say, like 60 nights on the trot of that. And like the musical satisfaction of 4 numbers a night, maybe. I don't know how... It's no wonder they all went a bit loopy, you know.
Yeah, you're just too used to playing long sets, Rory. That's the way it is.
The problem, yeah.
So tell us, you were just mentioning there about Chuck Berry. You read the autobiography. Do you think it was good?
I did, but I'm not a great... I've read the Little Richard book as well, and I really don't care what they do in the dressing rooms or what they do in the hotel rooms. I mean, I'd like a little more information about the different songs, the recording techniques, and... He could have referred to a few other people that he did work with, but he just skated through it. But I mean, it's a pleasure to have a book by Chuck Berry at this stage. I mean, he's paid his dues. He's written more songs than anybody else of a high caliber, so he doesn't have to apologise. But it's like any rock and roll book. There's always, you know, a plus and a minus factor there. You know. Yeah,
there was a bit too much though. He was a bit of a lad in his day, wasn't he?
I tell you, he'll never get into the holy city, that's for sure. But I think he exaggerates as well. But then maybe he doesn't. I don't know.
Yeah, you haven't seen the movie yet?
No, I haven't. No.
Okay, Defender came out there about 6 or 8 months ago, Rory. That was the first one in about 4 years, 5 years. That's a long time for Rory Gallagher. Why?
Long stretch. Well, different reasons. First of all, we recorded an album. To make a long story short, a complete album called Torch. And that was scrapped, and then we started again on a new album called Defender, even though 1 or 2 songs overlapped. Then we had some contractual problems and tying up the right deals and all that, and getting artistic freedom from the various companies. So, and then if you throw in a couple of tours and festivals and so on, I just don't know where the 5 years went. It's just as silly as that.
Yeah.
And it was depressing for me because for a guy who'd done maybe a dozen albums, sort of fairly punctual, like 1 every 10 or 11 months, it was getting a bit bizarre because people started saying, is he dead, or is he retired, or is he fed up, or is he whatever, you know. And I certainly hadn't dried up because I wrote so many songs, it was ridiculous. But I want to, now that taboo is out of the way, we'll just follow this one up fairly soon and keep moving, you know.
Well, is one big help the fact that you now have control with Capo, because you have a record company, or you have your own label now.
Yeah.
So what does that mean, having your own label?
Well, on the plus side, you have artistic freedom. Secondly, you could, if you liked, you could put some other artist on the label, or a note of a record that's gone off the market. But the main thing is it makes it easier in the current climate for, let's say, X Records of France to take on a capo record called Defender, rather than getting into a 5-year record deal with the artist himself, because that can cause all kinds of legal hang-ups and all that. Whereas things are so fast nowadays that companies prefer to work in 1s and 2s and that kind of thing.
But does that mean also then that it means an awful lot more work on the business side, which is something that you're not too crazy about on the business side for you and Donald? In having to go to all these countries and having to negotiate in each country.
Yeah, but you'd be surprised. It's if you've got a good connection with the company, say in England, or the company in Germany, they cut down a lot of the connections for you, and there's so much subleasing and all that nowadays, as you know. So, but it does take a little bit of work initially, all right, to get it moving, you know.